Hello, and welcome to our virtual annual discipline meeting for the 2024-2025 school year. I am Dane Lamont, the School Partnership Specialist for Penn Highlands Dual Enrollment Program. During our fall 2024 semester, we plan to have our in-person ACE discipline meeting at the Penn Highlands Richland campus. Unfortunately, poor weather conditions forced us to cancel the event this year. However, our college liaisons were still able to hold recorded Zoom sessions to discuss specific topics related to the disciplines you teach. Please enjoy this recording of your annual discipline-specific activity, and we hope you can join us in person next year. Thank you for making this program possible for your school and your students.
I should start by introducing myself. My name is Wayde Simington. I am the ACE faculty liaison for the math department. Thanks for joining me. So I've been here at Penn Highlands. I've been an adjunct at Penn Highlands since 2013. I've been here full time since 2019. So I'm about to wrap up my fifth or sixth full academic year of being full time at Penn Highlands. I teach any and every math class that we offer at Penn Highlands. I love teaching the range of classes from the developmental stuff all the way up to like Calc 2. I teach primarily at the Blair campus. That we have a campus in the Logan Valley Mall in Altoona, and I also teach at the Richland campus. That's right across from UPJ up in Richland. But that's a little bit about me. I've been doing ACE, serving as this role as an ACE faculty liaison since I was an adjunct. I've been doing it, I think, 8-9 years. I think I've been doing this. So I'm starting to get the hang of it. But anyway, if you guys could you go around, introduce yourselves? I know all of you guys, but I know you guys don't know each other. So in whatever order you feel is best. Or maybe I should call on you. Daphne, are you going to go first?
Yeah, I was looking for my unmute. My name is Daphne Pusey. I'm from Glendale High School. This is my first year teaching dual enrollment. We recently added several dual enrollment classes for our students, and this is one of them. We never had the dual enrollment algebra before. So I'm taking that on. I also teach geometry and calculus.
Nice. Yeah. And for us, you're teaching, it's college algebra, right? Matt
Yes.
145. Yep. Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. And I actually work with one of your old coworkers. His office is next. Brad O'Hara works for us now.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, his office is right next to mine. He's a really cool guy.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Daphne.
Yep.
Kelly, can we have you jump on next? Yeah. Thank you.
Yep. I'm Kelly Campbell. I'm with Huntington Area School District. This is also my first year. The class I'm teaching is the Math 145. We're calling it Advanced Algebra 2. And kind of the same thing. I think we had some dual enrollment courses at our school, but there's been a push this year to introduce the associate's degree. So we've had a lot more teachers join the dual enrollment process.
Oh yeah, I've been down to Huntington area. Your Huntington Area School District, that's you, right?
Yep.
Yep. I've been down there many a times, seeing a handful of teachers over the years. Yeah, good stuff coming out of Huntington. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Robert Malcolm, but everybody calls me Bear, and I had that on from another meeting and didn't change it. Sorry about that. But anyway, I teach at Westmont Hilltop High School. This is my 25th year teaching. Been doing dual enrollment for a while, but this is actually my first year with statistics. So I had been calculus for years, but in chemistry for years, but now changing to statistics.
Yeah, well, welcome to the dark side. Thanks for joining us. Folks, how about we jump into this? I don't want to take up any more of your time than I have to. I know Zoom calls are not everybody's favorite. Normally we have this meeting face to face at the Richland campus, and we get a nice catered dinner, and it's kind of like also like a social hour. I would encourage you guys, like, if you can, to attend that, like hopefully in person next year, then to do so. But we'll make do with what we got. So I do have a little PowerPoint prepared for us that I'm going to work through. Malcolm, or Robert, sorry, Bear. I know you've been through these meetings before. This is going to be mostly boilerplate stuff. Like not a whole lot has changed since last year, just a little bit in assessment. But for the most part, it should be more of the same for you. But certainly, if you guys have questions at any point in time, just speak up and let me know what you need. All right, the screen share is coming at you. Of course, this is the discipline-specific meeting that's happening on December 5th, 2024. And we just went through our introductions. Next, we'll go to our syllabi and textbooks. I'll talk about my math lab and my stat lab. I'll go through the resources we have available for you folks on MyPeak. We'll talk a little bit about expectations with regard to like content and rigor. We'll go through the site visits process. We'll talk about assessment reporting. And I'll go through my assessment analysis that I compiled from all of our data from last year. And then, like I said, we'll answer any questions you may have at the end or along the way is fine too. But let's start off by talking about syllabi and textbooks. So you folks should be able to access your syllabi for your courses through our MyPeak page by going to the ACE tab, clicking on the math page of the ACE tab, and then finding your course. And the textbooks that you can use for your, or the textbooks really that our courses are based on are listed on the syllabus. You folks do not have to use our version of the textbook. So long as you're covering everything that's on our syllabus, you're good. But if you want a copy of our textbook, feel free to just let me know and I can reach out to our rep and I can get a copy of our text sent to you. But I'm actually going to jump out of the PowerPoint really quick. I'm just going to go to MyPeak just to demo what I'm talking about. So if you guys log into MyPeak, which the URL for that is my.penhighlands.edu, you guys should have your login information. And this is also, I believe, where you'll go to submit final grades, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if you go to the ACE tab, there is a math page here on the left-hand side, and all of the courses that we're offering are here along the left-hand side. So if you need to get your probability and statistics syllabus, go ahead and click on Math 200 Prob and Stats, and there along the right-hand side, you'll see the syllabus for the course. And I know either Dane Lamont or Kaylee Davis also sends you guys the syllabus towards the beginning of the year. But if you need to reference it, that's where you can find it. One of the things that we use in our classes here at Penn Highlands is my math lab. And for those of you that teach stats, we use my stat lab. So access through my math lab, we use it at the college for students to do their homework. But it also has really valuable instructors that I use, or really valuable resources that I use as an instructor. This is where you can go to get access to publisher PowerPoints, short little videos that go over content, even some animations and some test banks. So I think my math lab is a really great resource. I would encourage you guys, if you don't have access to it, to take advantage of it, to get access to these resources. And Robert, I think you should have access to my stat lab already, because I think you're already in my math lab. But StatCrunch is something that it's a Pearson product. And honestly, it's like the most user-friendly statistical software like I've ever used. So like I use that pretty heavily in my stats classes as well. I wouldn't expect any of you to use my math lab in your courses, like with your students, because they would have to pay for that out of pocket. And I just don't think that's a reasonable expectation. Some schools do, and that's also totally fine. But I'm talking more so from the perspective of getting those resources. So I just want to show you folks. I'll give you a quick demo of one of my personal favorite things that we get out of my math lab. are some of these animations. So this is our LMS for our courses, but I'm teaching a college algebra class right now. I want to show you folks what in college algebra, and I know not all of us in here teach college algebra, but in college algebra, students see origin symmetry, and a lot of them have never seen origin symmetry or odd symmetry before. And it understandably is a little bit weird the first time you see it because, right, odd symmetry or origin symmetry is symmetry through a point instead of symmetry with respect to a line. So I always love when I teach that concept, coming in here and showing this little animation on, I think it's in this one. Do we see an interactive figure? Animation, it might be in the previous section. 1.2 from our book. Yes. This is what I'm thinking of. This little animation that they have in my math lab, I get a lot of mileage out of this animation where it shows that even and odd symmetry, but this animation in particular, I like using this to really showcase and highlight origin symmetry. Because, when we introduce it, I'm sure we all explain it like a bunch of different ways, going off the definition, f of negative x equals negative f of x. Opposite x's have opposite y's. You could draw line segments through the origin. But I think what really always drives it home for my students especially is just pulling this animation up, running through a couple different odd functions, and letting this animation really showcase like what odd symmetry truly looks like. So from me to you, for whatever it's worth, I like my math lab. I like the resources it has. I would encourage you to take advantage of it. So, and just let me know if you want to get access to my math lab and or my stat lab, and we'll get you signed up. We'll get you an instructor login. Other resources that are available to you folks on MyPeak, these are in the same location as the syllabus. It's on that MyPeak page that I just showed you guys. And what you'll find on here, going along with each of these classes, is maybe some. I exited out of that. Maybe some sample lectures, sample tests, sample projects, and other resources that you could use in addition to the stuff like that's on my math lab. But I'm looking here, going back to that stats page, looks like we've got the project for the course on there, a sample test on chapter 1 and chapter 2, chapter 3 and chapter 4, and even there's looks like some Excel files here. That's from our other instructor, Robin Hughes, who really likes using Excel. I'm more of a StatCrunch guy myself, but there are additional resources for you folks on MyPeak if you want to check those out. Okay, so let's get into expectations a little bit. Like, what do you guys need to be doing on your end as ACE faculty? So with regard to the content, we need you guys to just cover every learning objective that is listed on that syllabus. Again, you don't have to use our textbook. As long as in one way or another, you're covering every learning objective that's listed on that syllabus, you're good. With regard to the rigor we're expecting college level lectures, assignments, and interactions. For you guys that would like correspond to like, teaching these classes at like the AP level or at like the honors level. With regard to grading, I'll say most syllabi have a grade breakdown listed, and most of those syllabi have about 80% of the final grade being determined by closed note quizzes or exams, and about 20% of your homework grade, or 20% of your final grade coming from homework. So a lot of our classes are very heavily quiz and exam based, and less on the homework side of it. I do say, I put in there as a little caveat to cover my butt. Please reference your course syllabus though, to make sure you're following those grade breakdowns appropriately. Like Robert, I know stats has a stats project that's associated with it that I normally make about 10% of their final grade. Another thing with regard to like grading or quizzes and exams, no quiz or exam should be re-administered to a student. This is another thing that's cooked into those syllabi. We do not in the math department at the college allow retakes on any quizzes or exams. And this is one thing I will be a little flexible on this last bullet point I'm putting up here that says no extra credit should be offered. Really, truthfully, you guys, I have no problem if you offer a little bit of extra credit. Even me in my classes, normally at least once a semester, I offer a few points of extra credit. And it doesn't make really much of a difference in their final grade, but it kind of goes a long way with students sometimes, even just offering it. So I'll say feel free to offer a little bit of extra credit, but we want to be careful of offering too much that their final grade is not reflective of like the scores they actually earned. Okay, so in terms of like, I think the slides on here, this is one of the important ones. So I just want to hit pause really quick. I'm going to stop my share. I'm going to take a good look at it, you guys. Did that all make sense? Okay, I'm seeing heads nod. I like it. Okay, thanks guys. Let's keep going. Okay, with regard to the site visits, these can be conducted in person or via Zoom. We're at the point now where we're back to as much as we possibly can doing in-person site visits. But if something comes up and we need to do a site visit via Zoom, I'll work with you. My preference is always going to be to do it in person. So after we conduct our observations, I'll type up a report that has like a summary of the observation and checking boxes as yes or no, is this consistent with the college campus? I'll email that back to you after the observation. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times I get that to you within a week of the observation. And this semester's been a little bit crazy. Some of those have gone a little bit longer, but I'm usually pretty good at getting those to you within a week of the observation for you to sign and electronically send back to me. And then we'll both keep that for our records. I'll send it to administration so they have a record of it as well. So long as everything is good to go with your folks' site visits, you'll be placed on a 2 to 3 year observation cycle after that. And that's unless follow-up is needed, in which case I might come back in the same semester or maybe in the next semester. But those instances are few and far between. Most of the time in the math department, we have stellar faculty. When I arrive for site visits, I need to collect ACE student samples of work. So what I'm looking for when I'm collecting those samples of work is I'm hoping to collect an A grade, a C grade, and an F grade. And those samples can be any graded work that you gave to your students. The easiest things to get here are just copies of quizzes or exams that you've administered. But what I'm looking at when I'm looking at those student samples that I'm collecting is I'm looking at, are the questions you're asking on these assessments college level, and is the grading that you're doing on these assessments college level as well. And I'll add on to this. Although I do hope to collect an A, a C, and an F sample, I understand that a lot of your folks, students that are taking these classes, are A students. So if not all of those grade ranges are available, that's totally fine. I completely understand. And one more time, I'll reiterate that these student samples I collect have to be of your ACE students, not of your other students. Okay. On to our discussion of assessment. So everyone in the math department needs to submit common assessment information. So I completed my outreach with all assessment questions and everything. Really just, I think, earlier this week or maybe last week, depending on what discipline or what class you're in specifically. But you guys should each have in your school inboxes an assessment form for the classes for the ACE classes that you're teaching, and an Excel spreadsheet So in the assessment form, let's pull one up. Let's pull up a MAT 145 assessment form. They all more or less look the same. But in this assessment form we send you, it has a common question that you will put on the appropriate unit or exam. It's got a target level, and the top part of this will all be filled out for you. Your job as an ACE faculty member is to fill out the bottom part, and it's pretty straightforward information: your name, your school district, what date you administered it, the total number of students that took the assessment. That's total number of ACE students. How many students met the target level? How many students didn't meet the target level? And then in this bottom box here, you can give me any additional feedback, any insight into those results that you can. And also, as you scroll down here outside of the form, I do have a solution for you. Not that you guys couldn't figure it out yourselves, but we do have a solution there. And the components of working through that problem are itemized and listed along with a scoring rubric. So this should make the hope is with the identifying these components and the scoring rubric, the idea is that it will make quantifying and determining how many students passed the assessment easier on you. And going along with this is something that we didn't do last year, was this Excel spreadsheet. We have done it in past years. Some of you will remember, but we didn't do it last year. We're bringing it back this year because really it makes our assessment analysis a lot stronger. But you folks would have each got this assessment spreadsheet with the email I sent out to you earlier. And if you click on the appropriate sheet for your class, you'll see that you can just mark an X for each component that student got correct, along with their score. And this spreadsheet, I use that. I will use that in my yearly analysis. Again, it just makes the analysis more thorough rather than just looking at pass and fail rates. It gives us a deeper understanding of where the students went wrong if we need to course correct anything. What? Okay, back to the PowerPoint. All right, so we went through the assessment forms and the Excel spreadsheet. And again, just include that common question for your course as an open-ended question on a quiz or exam when the topic is taught. Fill out the assessment form in the Excel spreadsheet and just email those back to me after you get that done. And that's what we need from you guys with regard to the common assessment. All right, before I jump into the 2023 and 24 academic year assessment results, do you guys right now have any questions about assessment? That's probably the second big topic of the night. Robert's shaking, his heads are shaking now. Okay, great. All right. Then back to, well, actually, we're not going to go back to the PowerPoint. So we're going to go, I got a Word doc here. I had a Word doc here where I had all the assessment results from all the ACE classes last year compiled. So let me just find that again. That's it. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so when you guys send me in your assessment results, I file them away, and then after the academic year is passed and I have all those results back, I compile them all and we look at how well you guys did across all the classes. So we're going to go through this one class at a time, and we'll see how we did. So the first class we're seeing here is our Math 110 business math class. That was a 100% success rate. We only had two A students in that class last year. Both of them passed the assessment. That met our established goal of 70% student success. That was our first academic year offering that class as an ACE course. So I like to keep track of cumulative assessment results if we do assess something multiple years in a row. And well, that one's our first year, so we're cumulatively 100%. For Math 131 intermediate algebra, last academic year, we had a 93.5% success rate awesome. 29 out of 31 A students met that objective. Definitely meets our goal of 70% success. That was our second academic year using that assessment result, and that brought our cumulative results up to 73%. We're at 62 out of 71 students in total over the last two academic years answering that question correctly. And that question, I'm thinking just off the top of my head, was having the students graph something using slope-intercept form. So they're getting pretty good at that. We did good in college algebra as well. We had a 71.1% success rate. We had 59 out of 83 of our ACE students meet that objective. And this was a tough question. This question was related to, this required students to find the coordinates of a hole that was in the graph of a rational function, as well as the vertical asymptote of a rational function. So not an easy question, especially finding the whole part of it, but we met our goal of 70% success. That was our first and only year using that assessment question. It changed for this year, as I'm sure you guys that are teaching Mat 145 saw. So that will bring our cumulative and final assessment results for that learning objective at 71%. With regard to pre-calculus, we were at 88% for the last academic year. That's 44 out of 50 A students meeting the objective. Meets our goal of 70% success. That was our second year using that assessment question. That one was having them solve a trigonometric equation. And that brought our cumulative results to 85%. So we're doing pretty good there in pre-calc. In Prob and Stats last year, I think this was the only one that we didn't meet our established goal. We had 2 out of 8 of our A students meet that objective, which doesn't meet our goal of 70% success. That was our first academic year, and that was that's hopefully going to be our only academic year using that project as the common assessment. It did change for this year. The reason that we had to use that stats project as the common assessment last year is because the way we do assessment at the college, one of our business programs needed to assess its learning outcomes as well. And for us to help them assess the business learning outcomes, this was just the best thing to take from this class and apply it to those specific program learning outcomes. It did change for this year. And I do have some feedback for those of you that are teacher problem stats. I do have some feedback on that later down towards the bottom of this doc. Okay, and then for Calc 1, Mat 210 Calc 1, we had 92.9% of our A students meet the objective, meeting our goal of 70% success. That was our only academic year so far using that question. And it changed for this year as well. I believe that one did. So the final assessment results for that were 93%. I believe that question was a L'Hopital's rule question from Calc 1. So as far as the assessment process went here, each course with the exception of Mat 200 had a common question that was administered as part of the appropriate unit exam, right? That's how we do it. Mat 200 used its stats project as the common assessment, and ACE faculty reported back to me the number of students that passed the assessment in their form. So the strengths basically is every class with the exception of Mat 200 met their goals of 70% student success. So as far as like these classes go, I mean, great job to all of you guys that are out there that are just kicking butt. Maintain those strengths, keep up the hard work. Of course, the only class we had any shortcomings in were Mat 200, and the instructor comments that I got indicated that the most common errors were in sampling methods and measuring a proportion instead of conducting a hypothesis test on a population mean. So I'm going to jump right down to the preliminary recommendations, and maybe even Robert, with you teaching stats this year, this might help you out, or if you feel like you have any insight into this at the current moment, feel free to chime in here. But I think a good way to get around those common errors are to just have the students submit their claims and their hypotheses and their sampling methods ahead of time. I encountered for the record, I encountered these same problems in my stats classes when I taught them at the college. Students not designing their hypothesis test correctly, not randomizing their sample, and not realizing, oh, hey, you're measuring a proportion instead of a population mean. So I do have my students submit all of these things about a week ahead of time, and it's like a 5-minute conversation where like, okay, so this is how you can randomize that. And for the record, I recommend for students to randomize this, it's easy enough just to Google a random sample generator. So if your students have access to a long list of data, all they need to do is put that in some order, number it, and then go to a random sample generator, and that's how they can get a random sample. And therefore conduct a valid hypothesis test. And as I have written here, even though that project's not being used as the common assessment in this current academic year, the project is still a component of the course. So I'm sure those are problems that your guys are going to still, those of you that are teaching Math 200 will still continue to encounter. And as I have noted down here, oh, it looks like all math courses are using new assessment questions. I have written here in the following academic year, but that's actually at this current academic year that we're in right now. So, all in all, great job, ACE faculty. Those of you, I know Daphne and Kelly, you guys weren't here last year, but thank you, Robert, for that. And those of you that are watching this in the spring, keep up the great work. We do have some of the best teachers in the entire state on this ACE faculty team. So I really like going through those assessment results and seeing how you guys did every year, and just seeing how you guys consistently normally meet those goals that are set for you. So like really 2 thumbs up. Proud of you guys. Keep up the hard work. So what do I have now? Oh, I don't have anything planned now other than to answer whatever questions you guys have. There's my email. I know I've been in email contact with all of you, so you guys probably have that one. This is my office number. Feel free to call or text that number. It goes to my cell phone, so even though it's my office number, feel free to call or text that number. And am I screen sharing? No. Okay. Sorry. Hey guys, there's my email and there's my office number that you can feel free to call or text at any point in time if you have any questions. I'm really invested in this ACE stuff. Like I said, I've been doing it forever. I plan on doing it for a lot longer. I think we really make a difference. So even though I like volunteer for this every year, you can expect me to be your ACE faculty liaison for the foreseeable future. Okay, I need to get a drink of water. Folks, do you have any questions? Okay. Well then, I would say that this meeting is adjourned. We're out of here at 6:36. That's 24 minutes early. I like my meetings to be quick. Again, thanks guys for coming in. And if you need anything throughout the academic year, you know how to get a hold of me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yep, and you guys are free to go.